I buried her alive with my own hands, and as the dirt fell on her face, as her eyes looked at me with that terror I knew so well, I felt something I had never felt in my life. Power. Do you know what it feels like to have power over someone who took everything from you? Over someone who for 3 years made you feel like trash, like an object, like nothing? I do, and today I'm going to tell you exactly why I did it. After you hear me out, you decide if I'm a monster, or if I did what anyone would have done in my place. My name is Jamal. I'm 18 years old, and exactly 13 months ago, I killed my godmother. Yes, I killed her, and before I killed her, I raped her. Just like you heard. I know it sounds horrible. I know you're probably already judging me, but I need you to hear the whole story before you condemn me. I need you to understand why a part of me doesn't feel a single ounce of regret. This is my confession, probably the most disturbing one you'll ever hear in your life, and it's real. Every word I'm about to say happened exactly as I'm going to tell it. I live in South Central, a neighborhood in Los Angeles. My mom, my godmother, Brenda, and I, well, all three of us lived together until 13 months ago. Now it's just my mom and me. My dad abandoned us when I was 7. He left with another woman, and we never heard from him again. Not a call, not a text, nothing. My mom was devastated, without a stable job, with a child to feed and rent to pay. That's when Brenda, my godmother, appeared. My mom's older sister, the successful woman in the family. Brenda owned her own import business. She lived in a huge house in Beverly Hills. She drove a BMW and always looked impeccable, with her designer clothes and perfect nails. She was everything my mom wasn't. And ever since my dad left, Brenda became our savior. She paid our rent, gave us money for food, bought my school supplies, paid my tuition, everything. My mom adored her. Your godmother is an angel, she always told me. Without her, we'd be on the streets, Jamal. You must be eternally grateful to her. And I was. I really was. Brenda was incredible with me. She treated me like a son. She took me out, bought me things, was interested in my grades, until I turned 14. That's when everything changed. That's when my hell began. It was in September. I remember the exact date. September 18th. I had just started 9th grade. It was a Friday, and my mom had gone to work her night shift as a cashier at a supermarket. Brenda had come to watch me, as she always did when my mom worked nights. We were watching a movie in the living room when she told me to go to her car to get her cell phone, which she had left behind. I went. When I came back, she was in my room. She had never entered my room without permission. Jamal, come here. I want to show you something, she said. I went in. She locked the door. What happened that night was the first time. I won't give graphic details because that's not the point. But you need to know that from that night on, my godmother started sexually abusing me. I was 14 years old, she was 35, and it wasn't just that one time. It was systematic, 2, 3 times a week. Every time my mom worked nights, every time she picked me up from school to give me a ride, every time she took me shopping for clothes or out to eat something nice, she always found the moment. There was always an opportunity, and I couldn't do anything. Do you know why I couldn't do anything? Because the first time it happened, when I was still in shock, when I couldn't even process what had just occurred, she sat on my bed. She stroked my hair as if nothing had happened and told me, Jamal, my love, what happened is our secret. If you ever tell anyone, especially your mom, I'll have to stop helping you both. And without my help, your mom won't be able to pay the rent. You'll end up on the streets. Do you want that? Do you want your mom to lose everything because of you? She said it with a smile, with that smile she used when she gave my mom money, the same smile everyone saw and admired. I was a kid. I was 14. I didn't even fully understand what was happening. I just knew I felt dirty, confused, scared. But I also knew my mom depended on Brenda, that without her, we'd be lost. So I stayed quiet, and she knew it. She knew she had me exactly where she wanted me. Months passed. Then the first year, I stopped talking at school. I stopped having friends. I became invisible. My grades dropped a little, but not enough for my mom to worry. I developed insomnia. I stopped eating well. I lost about 18 pounds in 6 months. My mom thought it was because I was growing. Brenda knew the truth and didn't care. Every time she abused me, afterwards she would give me money. So you can buy something you like, she'd say, as if money could erase what she had just done to me, as if it were a transaction. At 15, I started having suicidal thoughts. I thought about jumping from the second floor of my school. I thought about taking all the pills I could find in the medicine cabinet. I thought about hanging myself with my belt, but I didn't do it. Do you know why? Because I was afraid that if I died, my mom would be alone, and Brenda would stop helping her, even wanting to die. I was still protecting her. I was still the good son, the grateful child with his generous godmother. When I was 16, something in me broke. It was after a particularly horrible night. Brenda had been drinking. She was more aggressive than usual. She hurt me. I'm not going into details, but she physically hurt me in a way that hadn't happened before. The next day I couldn't go to school. I told my mom I had a fever. She went to work. I stayed home alone, crying in the shower, trying to make the hot water wash away the feeling of her hands on me. It didn't work. It never worked. That afternoon, I made a decision. I was going to tell my mom everything. I didn't care what happened anymore. I didn't care if we ended up on the streets. I needed this to stop. I needed someone to save me. When my mom got home from work, I waited for her in the living room. My hands were sweating. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. "Mom, I need to talk to you about something very serious," I said. She looked at me, worried. She sat beside me. "What's wrong, son?" And I told her everything. From the very first day, I told her how Brenda had been abusing me for 2 years. I told her I couldn't take it anymore, that I needed help, that please, please. She believed me and helped me. As I spoke, I watched her face change, but it didn't change to horror or maternal protection. It changed to anger, to disgust. When I finished speaking, there was a very long silence, and then my mom looked at me with an expression I had never seen on her face. "Jamal, how can you say something like that?" she said, her voice trembling. "How can you invent such an atrocity about your godmother, about the only person who has helped us all these years?" She didn't believe me. My own mother didn't believe me. She thought I was making it up, that I was being ungrateful, that I was trying to destroy Brenda's reputation for some twisted reason she didn't understand. She yelled at me. She called me a liar. She told me I should be ashamed. And when I told her it was true, that everything was true, that please believe me, she stood up and said something I'll never forget. "Don't ever repeat those disgusting lies again. If Brenda finds out what you just said, she'll stop helping us, and it'll be your fault that we end up on the streets. Do you understand?" Then she went to her room and closed the door. I stayed there, alone in the living room, feeling emptier than ever. I had just mustered all my courage to ask for help, and my mom had called me a liar. The only person who was supposed to protect me had failed me. That night, I cried myself to sleep on the living room floor. The next day, I woke up and everything was the same. My mom acted as if the conversation had never happened, and I understood that I was completely alone, but the worst came later. A week after my failed confession, Brenda came home. My mom was in the bathroom. Brenda approached me and whispered in my ear, "Your mom told me what you said. What a disappointment, Jamal. After all I've done for you, you try to destroy me with lies?" My mom had told her. My own mother had betrayed my trust and told my abuser that I had reported her. Brenda smiled. "Now you'll have to compensate me for trying to ruin my life." From that day on, the abuse intensified. It was no longer 2 or 3 times a week. It was almost every day. Brenda would come home with any excuse, sometimes even with my mom present in the house, and she would find a way. One day, she took me to the bathroom while my mom watched television. Another day, she made me go to her car to help her carry in some groceries. There was always a way, and each time it was more blatant, more cruel. It was her revenge for trying to expose her, and I could do nothing but endure it, because I already knew that no one would believe me, not even my own mother. Another year passed like that, a full year where I stopped being human and became something that simply existed. I went to school like a zombie. I came home and waited to see if Brenda would come that day or not. When she came, I endured whatever she did to me. When she didn't come, I spent the night unable to sleep, hoping she wouldn't come the next day either. I developed panic attacks. Sometimes, in the middle of class, I would have one and have to run to the bathroom to try to breathe. My classmates thought I was weird. The teachers thought I was shy. No one knew I was dying inside. I turned 17 inches, February of last year. There was no party, just a simple dinner with my mom and, of course, Brenda. She gave me a PlayStation 5. My mom cried with emotion. "You're so generous, sister," she said, hugging her. "Jamal, you're so lucky to have her." I smiled and said, "Thank you." That night, after my mom fell asleep, Brenda raped me in my own bed with the new PlayStation on the floor beside us. It was like a symbol of what my life had become. Expensive gifts stained with abuse. Everything in my existence was contaminated by her, but there was something Brenda didn't know, something I had been silently planning for months. Ever since my mom had failed me, ever since I understood that no one would ever rescue me, I started thinking about an escape, a permanent escape. At first, I thought about killing myself, but the more I thought about it, the more unfair it seemed. Why should I die? Why should I be the one to disappear? I was the victim. I hadn't done anything wrong. Then, slowly, the thought changed. What if instead of me dying, she was the one who disappeared? I started researching. The internet has everything, if you know where to look. I learned about ways to kill that looked like accidents, about poisons, about alibis. I read forums, watched true crime documentaries, studied cases where killers had gotten away with it. I didn't do it obsessively or obviously, just a little each day. A search here, a video there. For months, I accumulated information, and during those same months, the hatred inside me grew. Every time Brenda touched me, every time she smiled at me with that fake smile, every time my mom praised her, the hatred grew bigger, more solid, more real. In June, something happened that changed everything. Brenda came home one afternoon. I was alone. My mom had gone shopping. Brenda looked different, nervous, excited. She sat on the sofa and asked me to sit with her. "Jamal, I have something important to tell you," she said. Her hand reached for mine. I pulled it away. She laughed. "Don't be like that, my love. You're going to love this." And then she said it. "I'm pregnant." The world stopped. I felt as if I'd been punched in the stomach. "What?" was all I could say. Brenda smiled. "I'm pregnant, Jamal, 3 months along. And even though I'm going to tell everyone it's from a boyfriend I have, you and I know the truth. That baby is yours." No, 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 this couldn't be happening. "You're going to be a daddy," she continued as if she were giving me good news. "And you're going to watch your child grow up. You're going to be there for every birthday, every Christmas. You're going to have to watch me be a mom to your baby. Isn't that exciting?" I stood up from the sofa. I felt like I was going to faint. "You're crazy," I told her. "You're completely insane." She laughed louder. "Crazy? No, my love. I'm just making sure you never forget me. Now we're connected forever. And if you ever dare to try and talk again, if you ever try to tell anyone about us, I'm going to say that you raped me, that you forced me. I'm 17 years older than you. Who do you think they'll believe? And with the baby as proof, you're going to end up in jail. So you better get used to your new reality." She left the house, leaving me devastated in the living room. When my mom arrived, I went straight to my room. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. My mind kept repeating her words. "You're going to watch your child grow up. Never forget me. Connected forever." I felt like I was going crazy. I felt something inside me break definitively. And it was at that moment, in the early hours of the morning, as I stared at my bedroom ceiling, that I made the decision. Brenda had to die. There was no other option. It was her or me. And I had already decided it wasn't going to be me. The next 2 months were the hardest of my life. I had to continue enduring the abuse while planning every detail of the murder. I had to smile when Brenda told my mom about her pregnancy and her mysterious boyfriend, who she didn't want to introduce yet. I had to listen to my mom get excited about being an aunt. I had to act normal, while inside I was completely broken. But I was also busy, very busy. I'm going to ask you a favor before I continue. If you're listening to this story and you feel something inside you, connect with what I'm telling. If you've ever felt that no one listens to you, or that you're alone in your pain, please like this video. I know it sounds weird to ask for it in the middle of a confession like this, but I need to know there are people out there who understand that I'm not completely alone, and if you want to hear more stories like this, real stories from real people who have gone through things no one should have to go through, subscribe to the channel. It's free. You just have to hit the subscribe button that appears below or next to the video. Depending on where you're watching, here we tell the things no one else dares to tell. The stories that leave you speechless, the confessions that make you question everything. Now, let's continue. Because what's coming is the heaviest part of all. What's coming is the day that changed my life forever. It was a Saturday, August 22nd. My mom had a double shift at the supermarket. She was going to be out from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. Brenda knew this. As always, she arrived home early with the excuse of keeping me company. She brought Chinese food, my favorite. According to her, I already knew what was going to happen. It had happened hundreds of times, but this time was different. This time I was prepared. We ate, well, she ate. I just moved the food around on my plate. Afterward, we put on a movie. Throughout the entire movie, I was trembling inside, but trying to appear calm on the outside. When the movie ended, Brenda stretched her arms and looked at me with that look I knew so well. "Jamal, go to your room," she said. It wasn't a suggestion, it was an order. As always, I stood up and went to the kitchen. "Do you want something to drink?" I asked her. She said yes, to bring her some juice. Perfect. In the kitchen, with trembling hands, I took the juice out of the refrigerator. Then I took a small vial out of my pocket that I had been hiding for weeks. Liquid clonazepam. I had gotten it little by little, stealing pills from a classmate's mom's medicine cabinet when I went to his house to do a project. I had dissolved them in alcohol until I had a concentrated liquid, enough to knock someone out, but not to kill them. Not yet. I poured the entire contents of the vial into the juice. I mixed it well. I took a deep breath. This was it. There was no turning back. I took the juice to the living room. Brenda took it without suspecting anything. She drank it all while telling me about how she was going to decorate the baby's room. I nodded, waiting. Kin's minutes passed. Ving? Her words began to slow down. Her eyes looked heavy. "I feel weird," she said. I think I need to lie down." She stood up from the sofa, but her legs didn't respond well. She stumbled. I grabbed her as if I were helping her. "Easy, godmother, I'll help you." I led her to her car, which was parked outside. Not to the room, to the car. She was too drugged to notice or to resist. I put her in the back seat. Her eyes looked at me confused. "Jamal, what's happening?" she murmured. I didn't answer her. I drove. I didn't have a license, but I had learned to drive by watching videos and practicing a couple of times in a cousin's car. I drove for about 40 minutes until I reached a vacant lot I had found weeks earlier when I was in my research phase. It was an abandoned place, full of trash, where no one ever went. Perfect. I took Brenda out of the car. She was semi-conscious. She could move a little, but not enough to defend herself. I dragged her to the center of the lot. I had brought a shovel that I had bought with the money she herself gave me. The irony was not lost on me. I started digging. It didn't have to be a very deep hole, just deep enough. While I was digging, Brenda began to regain some consciousness. "Jamal, please, what are you doing?" she said with a slurred voice. I ignored her. I kept digging. My arms hurt, but I didn't care. The physical pain was nothing compared to the pain I had endured for 3 years. When the hole was ready, I stopped. I approached her. She was lying on the ground, looking at me with those eyes that now showed fear, real fear. And that's when something inside me exploded. All those years of abuse, of humiliation, of feeling powerless, came out all at once. I knelt beside her. "Do you know what it feels like?" I asked her. My voice sounded strange, as if it weren't my own. "Do you know what it feels like for someone to take control of your body? To do things to you that you don't want? That you can't defend yourself from?" Brenda tried to speak, but she couldn't form coherent words. "Now I'm going to show you," I told her. And I raped her right there, in that vacant lot, with her drugged and unable to resist. In the same way that I had been unable to resist for years, I wanted her to feel exactly what I had felt. I wanted her to know what it was like to be the victim. When I finished, I felt empty, not satisfied, not avenged, just empty. But I wasn't finished. I grabbed her and put her in the hole. She was more conscious now. The effects of the drug were slowly wearing off. She began to understand what was happening. "No, Jamal, please. Don't do this," she begged. Her hands tried to grab the edge of the hole, but she was too weak. I grabbed the shovel. "For 3 years, I begged you with my eyes to stop," I told her. "You never did," and I started shoveling dirt on top of her. She screamed, tried to get out, but I kept shoveling dirt. More and more dirt, covering her legs, her torso, her arms. Her screams became more desperate. "Jamal, please, I'm your godmother. I love you. Forgive me." But I didn't stop. I kept shoveling dirt until only her face was visible. We looked into each other's eyes. In hers, I saw absolute terror. In mine, I don't know what she saw, but I hope she saw all the pain she caused me. "This is for every night I thought about killing myself," I told her. "For every time you made me feel like I was worth nothing. For stealing my adolescence. For that baby that will never be born. This is for everything." And I threw the last shovel of dirt, covering her face completely. I heard her muffled screams under the dirt. I heard them get weaker and weaker, and I stood there, looking at the mound of dirt, until I heard nothing else. It took me about an hour to completely cover the body and make the area look as normal as possible. When I finished, I was sweating, covered in dirt, exhausted, but I also felt something strange. It wasn't exactly relief. It was more like finality, like when you finish a chapter of your life and start another. Brenda had been my hell for 3 years, and now that hell was over, I went back to her car, drove back to my house, left it parked where she always left it. I went into my house, took a shower, washed off all the dirt, put on clean clothes, put my dirty clothes in a garbage bag that I then threw in a public dumpster several blocks from my house. I cleaned any trace of dirt in Brenda's car. I cleaned everything meticulously. When I finished, it was around 8 p.m. Then I called my mom. "Mom, have you heard anything from Brenda?" I asked, finding worry. She said she would come in the afternoon, but she never arrived, and she's not answering her cell phone. My mom immediately got worried. She tried to call her. Nothing. She sent her texts. Nothing. "How strange," she said. "That's not like her." She called other relatives. No one knew anything about Brenda. That night, my mom came home worried. I acted worried too. "She's probably fine," I told her. "Maybe her cell phone battery died." 2 days passed. Brenda didn't appear. Her cell phone was still off. Her car was at my house, but she wasn't. My mom filed a missing person report. The police came to ask questions. "When was the last time you saw her?" "Friday," I lied. "She came to have lunch with us and left around 3 p.m. She said she had a work meeting." The police wrote everything down. They asked if she had any enemies, if she had been acting strangely. "Not at all," my mom said, crying. "Brenda is the kindest person in the world. I don't understand what could have happened." On the 3rd day, her body was found. A group of kids playing in the vacant lot saw disturbed earth and, out of curiosity, started digging. They found a hand. They called the police. When they fully unearthed the body and confirmed it was Brenda, my mom collapsed. She cried for days. I cried too, but my tears were of relief disguised as sadness. The autopsy revealed that she had been raped and buried alive. The cause of death was asphyxiation. Clonazepam was also found in her system. The police began to investigate. They interrogated everyone who knew her, relatives, friends, employees of her company. I was also interrogated several times. "Jamal, are you sure you didn't see anything strange that Saturday?" "No, officer. I was home alone all day watching movies." "Didn't you hear anything? Didn't you see anyone strange?" "No, nothing." I was calm. I had rehearsed my answers 1,000 times. They checked her car. I had cleaned it so well that they found nothing. No fingerprints that shouldn't be there. No suspicious fibers. Nothing. They checked my room, my clothes, everything. They also found nothing because I had been careful, very careful. The street security cameras hadn't been working for months, so there was no video of anything. There were no witnesses because the area was completely isolated. There was no physical evidence connecting me to the crime. The investigation focused on the theory of a robbery gone wrong. Brenda was rich. She drove an expensive car, always wore jewelry. Probably someone tried to rob her, kidnapped her, abused her, and killed her. That was the official conclusion. Unsolved case, unknown killer, and I was free. Completely free. 13 months have passed since that day. 13 months since I killed Brenda, and in these 13 months, my life has completely changed. I no longer have panic attacks. I sleep well again. I gained weight. My grades improved. I even made some friends at school. It's like I've come back to life. My mom says she sees me happier, that I finally overcame the teenage sadness I had before. If she only knew. Sometimes I think about that night, about Brenda's face when she realized what was going to happen, about her pleas, about the sound of her voice choking under the dirt. And I hope to feel guilt, I hope to feel regret, but I don't feel any of that. The only thing I feel is that I did what I had to do. She took 3 years of my life from me. She took my innocence, my mental health, my ability to trust anyone. She turned me into a victim, and when I tried to ask for help, no one helped me, not even my own mother. Did I have to kill her that way? Did I have to rape her before burying her? Probably not. Probably there were other ways. But at that moment, with all the rage and pain accumulated for years, that's what came out of me. I wanted her to feel a fraction of what I felt. I wanted her to know what it was like to be powerless, to be at the mercy of someone who saw you as an object, and I succeeded. I know some of you will judge me. You'll say I'm a monster, a rapist, a murderer. And technically, you're right. I did horrible things. But ask yourselves this. What would you have done if someone abused you for 3 years? If the person who is supposed to protect you betrayed you? If you felt there was no way out? That no one was going to save you? What would you do? Would you stay there, taking the abuse until it completely destroyed you? Would you kill yourself to make the pain stop? Or would you do what I did? I'm not saying what I did was right. I'm not looking for applause or for you to tell me I'm a hero. I'm just telling my truth. The truth no one else knows. The truth. I've been carrying alone for 13 months. And now you know it too. Do I regret it? No, I don't regret it. Brenda didn't deserve mercy. Not after what she did to me. Not after planning to tie me to her forever with that baby. Not after years of torture. I did what the system didn't do for me. I delivered justice in my own way. And if that makes me a monster in the eyes of some, so be it. I'd rather be a free monster than a dead victim. But there's something that will make you think. Something even my mom doesn't know. When the autopsy was done, besides the clonazepam and the evidence of rape and burial, they found something else. Brenda wasn't pregnant. She never was. It was a lie. A complete lie. She probably told me that just to torture me more, to have more control over me, to make sure I never tried to escape from her, and I killed her believing she was really pregnant with my child. When the police gave my mom that information, she cried with relief. At least that's what she said through tears. At least they didn't kill a baby too. I didn't say anything, but inside I felt something. I don't know if it was relief or disappointment or what, because part of me had justified everything I did, thinking that I was also preventing a child from being born, a child who would be the product of all that horror. But it turned out there was no baby. There never was. I killed Brenda for many reasons, but one of the main ones was false. Does that change anything for me? No. She still tortured me for years. She still stole my adolescence. She still deserved what happened to her. But for you, maybe it does change something. Maybe it makes what I did worse, or maybe it just makes it more tragic. I don't know. You decide. What I do know is that I'll have to live with this for the rest of my life. Every birthday, every Christmas, every time I see my mom cry because she misses her sister, I'll have to carry the weight of knowing the truth. I'll have to smile and hug my mom and tell her that everything will be okay, when I know that I'm the reason why nothing will ever be okay for her again. And you know what's the most twisted part of it all? Sometimes, when I see my mom sad, I feel guilt. Not for killing Brenda, but for causing my mom pain. The same mom who didn't believe me when I asked for help. The same mom who chose her sister over me. I still love her. I still want to protect her, even after everything. How messed up is that? Right. Before I finish, I want to ask you something. If you've made it this far, if you've listened to my entire story, please like the video. I know I asked before, but seriously, it means a lot. It means someone listened to me, that someone knows my truth. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories no one else dares to tell, subscribe to the channel. It's free. You just have to hit the subscribe button. You'll find it below the video or next to it, depending on where you're watching. Every day, we upload real stories of people who have lived through things you wouldn't wish on anyone. Betrayals, abuse, family secrets, crimes, confessions that will leave you speechless. This is a safe space where people can tell their truth without being judged, or well, being judged, but at least being heard first. Also, let me know in the comments what you think. Did I do right? Did I do wrong? Would you do the same in my place? Am I a victim or a perpetrator, or both? I want to know what you think. I want to know if there's anyone out there who understands why I did what I did, or if everyone thinks I'm a monster who deserves to be in jail. And if any of you are going through something similar, if someone is hurting you and you feel there's no way out, please seek help. Talk to someone, a teacher, a psychologist, the police, whoever. Don't do what I did, because even though I don't regret ending my abuse, I know there are other ways. Ways that don't turn you into a murderer. Ways that don't force you to carry such a heavy secret for the rest of your life. I'm sorry if the video was too long. I know it's over 30 minutes, but these things can't be told in 5 minutes. You can't summarize 3 years of abuse and a night of revenge in a short video. I needed to tell everything. I needed you to understand the full context. I needed you to see that I'm not just a killer. I'm someone who was pushed to the limit and made a decision. A horrible, irreversible decision, but a decision nonetheless. Thank you for listening to the end. Seriously, thank you for not closing the video. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell my side of the story. Thank you for being part of this community where we support each other even when the things we tell are difficult to hear. It means more than you can imagine. And to finish, let me tell you something. If there's one thing I'm sure of after everything I've been through, it's that we all have a limit. We all have a breaking point. Mine was that day in June, when Brenda told me she was pregnant. Yours might be something else. But we all have it. And when you reach that point, I hope you make better decisions than I did. I hope you find help before it's too late. Because once you cross certain lines, there's no turning back. I crossed those lines, and now I have to live with that forever. I'm legally free, but a prisoner of my own truth. And you are now the only ones who know that complete truth. Make it count. Comment, share. If you feel someone needs to hear this, like it. But most of all, think. Think about what you would do in my place. Think about what's right and what's wrong. Think about where the line is between justice and revenge. See you in the next video. If you decide to stay. If you don't completely hate me after hearing this. And if you hate me, that's okay too. I don't even know if I hate myself or not. Some days I feel justified. Other days, I wonder if I became exactly what she was. Someone who harms others to feel power. I don't have the answers. I just have my story. And now you do too. This was it. My complete confession. What I never told anyone. What has been eating me up inside for 13 months. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, we all have secrets. This is mine. What's yours?